I'm sure that you and whoever's listening to this has found that ads online have been a bit spooky and they're very relevant to you. And I actually love that about online advertising now, so always accept the cookies.
Welcome to the Creative and Code podcast.
Welcome to the internet, my friend.
Brought to you by ID Digital Agency.
Kind of a big deal.
Dive into the dynamic world of digital marketing, creative design, and coding with top experts, latest trends, and actionable insights. Let's get inspired and innovate together.
It's showtime.
Another podcast, here we go.
Another podcast.
Yes, we're up to number 6, I think.
No, we've been bagging them out.
Terry was a hit before. She's been doing really well. The views are going up for her. And then we did ChatGPT interview last time. This time we've got Ben from 100% Digital. And we've just finished the interview. We seem to do the interview first, and then we can talk a little bit about
what did he say? Yeah. I mean, I think he had some interesting insights. There's things obviously that we do in like our marketing side of the business that we don't like delve a lot into like specific remarketing, where it seems like that's really his specialty. So it's like there's crazy amounts of information out there that like you can buy. Who knew?
Yeah, you buy devices, and those devices have got the age, the gender, the interest, the location.
Yeah, and even things like
behavior.
we just spoke about, when someone's bought a house, which,
like, huh?
Which I'm curious about because I keep getting ads for gambling. And I don't know what I'm doing to indicate that I'm a gambler because I'm not.
It's not what you're, well, it kind of is what you're doing because from what I understand, there was a company that was part of the Donald Trump campaign and why he became president. And there's 130 or something different personas, let's just call it that. And because of what's going on in your life right now, right, and all that's triggering the potential or probability that you might start gambling soon. That's what it's all about.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe it's because I play games on my phone.
Could be that?
Yeah. I think that could be it.
What kind of games are you playing?
I don't know. I like this one where you like, it's just like kind of Candy Crush. I just play when I'm on the tram.
But that could be, they've noticed that. These advertising nutters that do programmatic.
I can't say it. Programmatic advertising.
Advertising,
it's all very complex.
And that's the thing. This has been around for a long time. That's why like some of these campaigns do so well because they understand the people right down to a minute level. Get into the psyche, give them the message that they want to hear. Yes, I'll vote for that person.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It is kind of scary.
So really the world isn't made by quick decisions anymore. It's based on the potential or probability of someone.
Yeah, you're going to actually do something. Yeah.
So don't go gambling, Emily.
I'm not going to gamble.
Blackjack.
I'm not, like, this is the thing. I would understand if maybe I would start gambling. I'm just not. And I also feel like a lot of them is like sports bet. Like AFL this, I'm like, I don't know. Like Ben was just talking about with that kind of data and knowing if someone's going to start gambling, you should also like put other filters on it, like age and gender and things like that. I feel like a lot of the ads I get are very male targeted. Okay. So I'm not sure why I'm getting them. I feel like they should be.
You're like, hey, I'm not male.
I know, like, come on. Like,
Figure out my
And
identity.
it's also very like YouTube. Like on Instagram, I get ads for like dresses. And then on YouTube, it's like a same day multi AFL. Like,
I know exactly the ad you're talking about just based on that.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, I was only talking about this
That's funny. I don't get any gambling. I don't play any games on my phone. I'm pretty boring in the game department. And maybe that's why.
I do watch
footy. I watch a lot of footy. I'll be watching tonight. Thursday night, Friday night.
How does that make any sense? I don't watch football and yet I'm being advertised to bet on it. Whereas you watch football.
It's also the amount of time that you spend watching a particular video on Instagram or TikTok. And all the tags and everything that are behind that, they're starting to, and that little tag, if you're watching a video, that's like a similar video with the same tags for a long time, they're going to start to group those tags together.
That's true.
And start to develop a persona out of you.
Scary.
And you fit into a particular mold.
Fit into a mold. Yeah, you can do that on like Instagram and go through and see what it thinks your interests are.
There's lots of movies on Netflix, if you have the time to have a look, that talk about that. And they say they can predict, within, I think it's 15 minutes of activity online, what kind of life you're going to have, what kind of milestones you're going to have. Like, it's nuts.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's great for advertising.
I was sitting there the other day in my car and I'm on Waze. I've moved over to Waze from Google Maps because it's a bit friendlier.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it tells you where the cops are.
Yeah, it tells you there's cops in 300 metres, tells you
that's good
potholes,
stuff.
there's a whole range of stuff, tells you if there's speed cameras.
Yeah.
And I know Google Maps does that a little bit too, but it's just a bit friendlier.
Maps is
Also tells you if you want to avoid tolls, which I'm really keen on at the moment because I'm not worried. I don't like spending $10 one way to work, $10 back, $22 on parking every day.
Get the train.
What's the train worth? How much does it cost you to get to here? Or tram?
Well, look, I'm not going to reveal all my secrets, but I don't pay full price for the train.
You got some kind of concession.
Yes, but I'm not supposed to. Don't tell anyone that. But it's fine. I'm
Maybe
paying
we can do
something.
the Emily hacks in a podcast one day to get. Well, I'll tell you, you've got some really good hacks. Let's get into that.
I mean, that's my number one hack.
Food hack.
Food hack. Well, this is my original food hack was take as much food from Central House where we work as possible. But recently,
but not taking it out of the fridge or something.
No. Like if we would have like once a month, we have an end of month dinner at Central House. And there was always a lot of food left over because usually it would go until like 6 p.m. and a lot of people have already left by then. So I would just take some extra and have it for lunch the next day.
Right.
Things like that.
You bring in your Tupperware or your containers.
I'm prepared.
I've
Although
done that once.
they've started to police it because I think I've caused some problems.
Also, we have breakfasts that are prepared on a Tuesday morning, which is nice, and it's like scrolls or eggs or whatever it might be. Pancakes was this week.
Yeah, but we're on limits.
Yeah, so now they've put up a sign, which I think's for you.
I think it's for me. Yeah,
it's like one's per portion per person.
I was
or
just
one pancake.
there was a point there where I think the problem is we have a lot of new people in Central House now, and there's more people going to the events because like when I first started, there was like almost nobody. Like the breakfast wouldn't be as popular, so you'd be able to get like one time I ate bagels for 4 days straight because there were so many leftovers. Yeah, so. There's a lot of good hacks in Emily Land.
Now that the cost of living, there are ways that you can save.
Yeah,
and it's so easy to do too. Like me. I mean, I'm saving $100 out of tolls per week. That's $5,000.
I think if you got the train, it would be what? I don't know what it is. $20 per day. That's not right.
Really?
Is that right?
I don't know. We'll have to look it up at some stage.
We'll
report back in the next podcast.
Yeah, okay, we'll find out.
It'd be good to know. So if I got the train from my house to here, so I think it's 2 zones.
And then you can also work on the train if you so desire.
Yeah, maybe. I
Because
probably would. I'll be on my phone or something.
Well, this is the thing. You
getting
also
all that
don't have
data
to
for 100% digital.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, stay around for Ben. He'll be here. Well, he's been.
Yeah,
but
he will be
probably
here
10
after
minutes or
this.
so. Yeah.
Good news, everyone.
Uh-oh, I don't like the sound of that. This is the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thrilling.
what's been happening this week in your?
It's been very full on. I've been very busy. It's reporting week because it's the start of September, which I feel like creeps up on me
spring,
every
my
single
gosh.
damn month. It just like, I'm like, how am I reporting again? So yeah, and I think we've now got a couple of new clients, especially with SEO, where there's more reporting that I need to do, which it's a chunk of time. And yeah, we've had a few various things happen this week, and there was one piece of work that I was doing this week that the brief changed midway through, and it's kind of like,
But it wasn't because of our work either. I've got a really tickly nose at the moment. I'm going to sneeze. Sneeze. There it is.
Bless you.
I should have. Sorry, I sneezed.
Sneezed into the camera. It's like ASMR.
The client had a realization.
I think
halfway
the
through,
problem is
pulled the
we've
brakes.
done work for them previously, and they kind of said with this one, okay, we just want the same work we've had previously, like same kind of thing. Great, okay, did that work, and then we went through a couple of rounds of revisions, and they were like, wait a second.
And our normal contact went and had a baby, which is got replaced, and then this person had an epiphany.
And said, what do we actually do with this campaign? I've decided
We're gonna do this
everything
instead.
we've told you is completely drop all of that. We'll start again.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, to be like, okay, obviously we want to give you what you want, and
And what
that's
quoted
that's
as well.
fine.
Yeah.
But it does kind of, especially in terms of my scheduling, to go, okay, well, I thought this was going to be done last week because I knew this week I have to do all this reporting, and now suddenly I've got all these extra things to do. So it kind of it extended my timelines a little bit, and it's been a bit.
And you're off tomorrow, so you're
and I'm
trying to
off
squeeze it
tomorrow.
into a
I know,
4-day week.
so it's a bit of a, it's chaos. Yeah,
I'm glad to hear you're busy though, Emily, because you'll probably find as well out in the world, everyone's still a little bit doubtful about how things are going. We just got the figures that the economy has stalled quite a bit. It's only a 1% growth.
Doesn't surprise me. No one has any money.
No, but then, funnily enough, yesterday as well, we had a couple of clients contact us and said we need to ramp up our marketing. We need to try different things.
Well,
we need to...
I think it actually does work in our favour. Because people aren't buying, our clients need to spend more money to get people to buy, which then in turn gives us more work. So
yeah, and it's a good situation, I guess, for us, but we don't want to see it as a bad situation, I guess, for others.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it'll have adverse effects eventually. I think,
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you let people know that you're around and that you understand their situation and here's what you're doing about it, they'll be more inclined to come
exactly.
and work with you.
It can be a hard one to kind of, especially when people are conscious with money. You don't want to be like, banging on about certain things in advertising. It's like quite a bit more nuanced, I think, with some of the messaging we're doing recently, just to try and soften the blow of advertising to people when you know they don't have any money to spend.
It is hard. It's a hard sell. And most people, because they're doing well, they want to spend more money, but it's when they're not doing well that they start to put the brakes on, and that's the number one time you shouldn't really be doing it. Yeah, and that's where right now as well, we've had a couple of projects that we spoke to you about that didn't go through simply because they said we're not going to do anything. So that puts a little bit of strain on us.
And
but
that's
then
like the worst situation too, because you're like, there's nothing you could have even done differently. It's just like physically they just can't. They don't have any money.
Yeah, they didn't go with anyone else. They just said, we've decided that we're not going to do anything for now. And once that decision's made, that's obviously passed by a board or a committee or whatever, and it's not like you can convince one person to say, hang on a sec, you need to spend. They're like, well, the decision's made, I can't do anything
12
about
people
it.
have decided this, Yeah,
so that's a bit of a hard sell there too. But we've found as well, there are opportunities no matter where you look, and that's where Ben, coming on board today, he LinkedIn me. Is that a word?
LinkedIn. What is it called? It's called InMail.
He emailed me and said, Jay, what are you up to? And I said, it's been ages, mate. What are you up to? And he's like, let's get together. I've got some interesting things that are happening.
Cool.
And I'm like, let's, if you're down in Melbourne, he's like, I'm down next week. All right.
There we go.
Let's make it happen. So Ben will come in shortly. Is there anything else? Some news?
Well, what's happening in your world, I guess, is...
we haven't got there so far.
Yeah. We've covered...
It's
been full on?
Been hard. Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of things in my head. And I woke up this morning and I'm just
not feeling it.
Yeah. Just not motivated. I mean, it's good. There's work. We've got work for the next couple of months with the team.
I think you still have, especially because you're running a business. It's not going to be like sunshine and rainbows every day.
That's right.
Like some days you're just going to feel a bit flat, and that's...
I think you're right. I think you got your people, your developers and your coders, your production people that see their schedule. We try not to overload them too much. Day to day, this is what you do and you get it done, which is great. And as long as you get it done, happy days. There's nothing else there. But for someone running a business, and like with Ben, he runs his own, what would you call it, production agency, or advertising agency. It's like this.
Yeah. Well,
and it's not like this one day and like this. It's this throughout the day.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
So, for instance, yesterday we get an email from one of our clients and they're like, we've got some challenges that I need to talk to you about and possible solutions. That was it. And I'm like,
so
how do I take that? What's this about? Is this about the current project we're on? Is it about new projects? Is it good? Is it bad?
What is it? Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I think as a business owner, you're worried because that one phone call can change your day. It can change your whole
and
next
not even
quarter.
just you. It could be all of your staff too. You've got 3 people assigned to this project and suddenly, one email you've got. Yeah.
You can go topsy-turvy.
Crazy.
But I've been doing this for 22, 23 years. I understand the trends. I know when I need to be thinking about maybe talking to some of our network and seeing what's out there and seeing how other people are going. And so, it's
true. I mean, I guess it is beneficial to have that network to fall back on, because you can imagine if you were just relying on people seeing an ad for us or whatever and then sending conversions through the website, you'd get nowhere. You have to have people to ask, like Ben, to be like, what's happening in your world? How can we do something?
Totally. Even yesterday, for instance, my day was got in. What was it yesterday? Today's Thursday? Wednesday.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah, got in, did my stand-up, and our stand-ups have changed a little bit. We don't actually talk them out with people anymore. It's just a Slack channel called Stand Up, and we put in what we did yesterday, what we did yesterday, what we did yesterday, what we're doing today, And then it gives the project manager and myself the ability to just comment and say, yeah, what about this? Or yes, please make this your priority.
Would recommend this so much.
Because it used to be 5 minutes per person. There's 10 or 11 of us now.
Yeah.
That takes up 40 minutes.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also, like, from my perspective, like,
As soon as you've spoken.
I don't care about what any of the developers are doing. I have no
It's
interest.
nice to hear and be a part of it, but
yeah, but
that's
at the
half
end
an
of the
hour
day,
more for you.
yeah, exactly.
So.
So
And
it's
this has
much
worked
better
really
now.
well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so stand up, did a specification for a business discount fuel system, got that phone call, had a meeting with a bank, did all their monthly reporting and recommendations and found some things that we need to fix for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then, took that phone call. It was all good at the end of it. They want us to do more marketing, which is what we were talking about before. Finished off the spec, had a meeting about a domain business, jumped in the car, went home, got the kids fed, put them into bed. Wife went off I went off.
Oh.
I'm getting on my days. Went off and did a sauna with my sauna squad every Wednesday night. Hi, boys. And then, stayed up, did a bit of like preparation for this interview today. It's a busy day.
That's full on. Man.
And you'll see as well, I asked Ben at the very end of this podcast as well, does he sleep well at night? Because he does similar hours to me. And he said, yep, sleep really well, no problem. And I'm like, oh, damn
I
it.
wish that was me.
Yeah, I have to have like an AirPod in. I have to be listening to something boring, so my mind just goes elsewhere and I go to sleep within minutes. That's what but if I don't do that, I'm awake for hours. I just have a little AirPod in.
There's just things,
numbing stuff, sleep.
I feel a bit the same. You kind of have to have I always have screens going at all times. Like there's always something on in the background. Otherwise, your mind just starts
it does
running.
And maybe that's the attention span that we've got and the amount of content that we're consuming. Thanks, Ben, is about feeding that programmatical bull.
I mean, probably
system.
Honestly, yeah,
it's an addiction. It's like cigarettes these days. Back in the day, people are just on their phones. Like I went and picked up my mum's bike and had to put it in the car because she was bike riding with the kids this morning. Anyway, I put it all in, got in the car, took off, realised my phone was still in the boot. And I'm like, oh my God. And even though it was a 15-minute drive to my place,
like, what am I going to do?
Oh,
listen to the radio?
What if a message comes through? What if something... I'm like, no, I'm just going to leave it there. And just had a good time. I don't know, I put the windows down and just had 15 minutes to myself.
Imagine that.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Good. Yeah. Do you find that you have to do that sometimes?
I mean...
Put the phone in a drawer? Or?
Yeah, not really. No. But I guess I don't have a family that I have to pay attention to or anything. So I tend to have a lot of time.
What about if you're out with your friends or whatever, you trying to keep your phone away?
I mean, I tend to do that anyway because it gets to a certain point where I spend, if I'm on in the morning tram ride, I'll go through all my socials in the morning for probably over an hour.
Wow.
And then, it gets to a point where there's just nothing else to see.
I know,
and you're like, okay.
I've seen that one before.
Yeah, I've got to,
It's rare, isn't it? Now that I think of it, you don't really see the same video twice.
Yeah, it just gets boring after a while. And then, so I have to give it a few hours to reset. So I feel like as long as I get my hour of time in beforehand.
Yep. And then you have your walk from the tram stop to here. Which is
but I always have music on.
So you're always connected somehow.
I've always got something. I mean, there's no silence. I mean, sometimes I'll just sit on the tram in silence.
I make sure, when I'm at home, the kids are down, the phone is somewhere else. But then I've got my watch. And that's
the
connected.
thing.
It's telling me things.
I don't like that.
No, but what's really good, because my phone's connected to the iPad. The iPad goes in with my son. He listens to rain at night to go to bed.
Oh, okay.
It must be something similar with him and I. But that means that my wife puts it on focus mode and then nothing comes through. And that's nice.
Well, what's going to come through at night?
You have no idea the stupid stuff. Someone on LinkedIn liked your post. Or
of course.
Instagram recommends this person that you should follow. And you're just like, no.
I mean, because I'm connected to all the Meta accounts for all of our clients, and sometimes it comes up. I don't know how to turn off the notifications on.
Yeah, we get them from a petroleum company.
Yeah,
and it's
all night I get and especially with the bank, we get a lot of ones that are my account's locked. It's
yeah, you feel bad for someone.
Yeah,
but you're
it's 4 a.m. Who's going to be responding to you? Anyway, crazy.
That's all data. Let's talk more data with Ben.
You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
So what's happening in the world of Ben?
It's an exciting world, Shay.
Always.
Yes.
I've seen your Instagram account.
Yeah, that looks like I don't work, but I actually do work quite a lot. But people think I just holiday, but no. That's the beauty of a digital business, really. Anywhere with Wi-Fi, we can cause a lot of havoc. Digital business, 100% digital. It's been going for almost 2 years.
Yep.
off the back of working for digital agencies for the last 7 years and having Pink Media Group for 12 years. So I've been running an agency for a long time, and my team from that agency have come across to 100% digital, and it's great. Like, everybody wants digital.
So some of them are still working for Pink Media. Like, there's a bit of a hybrid going on.
There's a bit of hybrid going on, and up until recently, 100% was a subsidiary of Pink. But it's now a standalone business.
It's exciting.
It's exciting, yes, with 1,000 shares, which is fun.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm going to,
Okay.
you got a choice of 100 shares or 1,000. So I went for 1,000, so I can bring some people in.
I think mine's got 1 share, so you're a PTY today.
Yeah.
My share's like $10. That's what I
Right.
initially had it for, but you've got 1,000, and
Well, I want to bring people in and have some equity and give it a really big nudge. So I've got pretty aggressive growth targets.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's
And
the
your
structure.
staff, you've got some of them on some of your shares.
I've worked out who's in
that
line,
low.
and I've had some conversations with them, and which it's just the I've got to work out the structure and the legalities of all that. But
Same.
yes,
Yeah. So it's good that you've got that kind of initially established. I've been kind of looking at that too. We've got some of our team that have been with us for quite a while,
Yeah.
and I almost want to start saying, well, they don't know anything about this yet.
yeah,
Find out on the
To start
podcast.
saying, look, I love working with you. You work
Yeah.
really well. I don't want you to go anywhere.
Yeah.
This would be a great way
have
for
a vested
you.
interest. We're going to go
exactly.
for a 4 or 5 year ride here. Let's bolt in. Let's go.
And would this be your first time going into that type of share arrangement, or you've done it before with Pink, or?
No, it's always been just me, and I've had a whole bunch of staff who've been with me for a long time. But I think this one's much bigger. So Pink was very focused on the LGBT audience, who are a big, important part of the community. But it ended up being quite a seasonal business, mainly around Mardi Gras, and we're doing mainly digital stuff anyway. But 100% digital is any audience, and it's what is spectacular about programmatic is that you can reach anyone, and I'm sure that you and whoever's listening to this has found that ads online have been a bit spooky, and they're very relevant to you, and I actually love that about online advertising now, so I always accept the cookies.
And I think I find these days too, people have, like you're saying, accepted the fact that you're being tracked, and it can be a bit scary, but it's also more relevant for you. Why would
better.
you want to look at an ad when you're not interested in weddings or the block or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So you're getting served ads that are more relevant and probably more interesting too. So.
Yeah, and like if you're shopping online and you're sort of thinking, will I buy this, won't I? If it then follows you around the internet for a month or two, I quite like that. It's like, okay, you've gone to the effort,
Yeah.
you really want me to buy it, and I'm in the mood right now, so sold.
It's almost like the Minority Report movie where he's walking through the shopping centre, he's being bombarded with ads and things like that, and they know him. He's like, "Oh, you look great in black. We've seen it," and you're like, "What?" So
Yeah.
do you think we'll get to that point?
Well, we're not far off it. So we do a lot of first-party audience targeting. So if a client's got an email database, we can basically reach those people while they're reading the paper as opposed to emailing them, and that's great. We do a lot of third-party audience targeting, so we can buy basically any audience. And when you buy a concert ticket these days, they ask you a bunch of questions. You've got your supermarket loyalty cards, you've got your credit card, and all that data is being sold anonymously. So we can reach anybody online really accurately, and it's great.
So by anonymous data, are you saying like you don't know the people's details, their addresses, their email
No.
addresses? You just know their segment within a space?
Yes, yeah. So we basically brief our third-party audience providers and say we want to reach people who are into gardening and have a house and have a garden, for example, and they come back and say, here is 5 million devices nationally. You can geo-target it down to state. We can then overlay it with age groups and a whole bunch of other things. And
That's good. So people, when you're targeting, you're not targeting an individual. You're targeting what's that called? A device.
It's an anonymised audience, and it's their devices. Yes.
So if I had a laptop, a phone, they're considered two separate devices, and I interact differently on those, and probably serve different ads to me depending on what device.
Absolutely. So we can just target mobiles, we just target tablets, desktop, laptop, whatever you like. Yeah.
Intense.
It's good, and that's why programmatic and digital advertising is growing exponentially, because it's so well targeted, and the analytics are unbelievable. So we do a dashboard, and you can see everything. You can see how many people, how old they are, what day of the week, and what device they're engaging on, what they then did, if they went and bought anything, how much they spent, what the ROI was. Like, it's all there. And so all the traditional media channels, like TV is now programmatic with BVOD and SVOD. Radio is now programmatic with digital audio. Traditional newspapers are now programmatic because they're all online. Everything's programmatic.
Yeah. And it seems like, a lot of advertisers like to use these shortened phrases of what they are, but basically the ads that you can serve or the targeted content is on things like the new Netflix free subscription.
We can, yep.
Binge, which has got the free one, I think, now.
Yep.
Or substituted with ads. What other
So that's SVOD,
mediums,
so
basically?
streaming video on demand. We do a lot on YouTube as well. And then there's BVOD, which is the 9 now, the 10 plus, and all those different catch-up TV options. And it's really cost effective. So as opposed to free-to-air TV, you can run a campaign on BVOD or SVOD for $10,000, which you would get nowhere on free-to-air TV with that. So it's great. And out of home is amazing as well. I worked in out of home for 10 years with JC Deco and a bunch of others. And one billboard might cost $10,000 or $100,000, but $10,000 or $100,000 on digital out of home, you literally get hundreds or thousands of sites. You can just buy lunchtime. You can do weather triggering. All
It just
different
makes so much
environments.
sense. Like, I think that's why Google's starting to drop a little bit of its advertising profit. And also the search is because all those other things are becoming a little bit more programmatic.
Well, we still love search in terms of end of funnel conversion. It's great. I've got a client in Melbourne who's a car dealership, and we get them 240 phone calls a month to buy cars, and they pay about $2,000 for that, so that's cheap. So they love it. So for conversion stuff, end of funnel, it's great.
Yeah, and I think more kind of your small businesses or they're interested in that stuff because they've heard that it works.
Yeah.
And it's simple to understand versus like the programmatic stuff does need a bit of education at the moment.
Yeah.
It's hard to pitch that to people who kind of don't know what they're getting into with it.
To an extent, but then when you say to them, have you been to a website recently and looked at something, and then it follows you around the internet, they're like, yes, well that's
what we do.
That's
That's such a
retargeting.
simple
you have to
That's us. And have you noticed that your ads are very relevant to your age and your lifestyle and what you're into? And they're like, well, actually, now that you mention it, yes. And like, well, that's also what we do, and that's the audience information in the background that you can get access to for the targeting. So when you sort of explain how it works in practice.
People are on board.
Yes.
We find too a lot of our clients initially haven't really understood their customer. Who are they actually? They think they know.
Yep.
And that they have a broad idea, but it's so important for these types of things to really drill down
Yep.
who you're targeting specifically, and not just say 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's what are they interested in your service, and who are these people that are interested in that part of your service? Do you find that that's part of that strategy initially that you work with?
It is. So what I find particularly interesting is they tell us who the customer is, and so we build a strategy to reach them online, and that's great. But the reporting that we do and the analytics then comes back and says, this is who you were targeting, this is who's actually engaging with the campaign. So we had a big...
So you start broad, and then you can start to see who's actually converting and whatever, and then you can...
There's a broad
funnel it
element
down.
and there's a very targeted element,
Yeah.
and we run them all and optimize as we go through. But we had an example recently, which was a national beer brand, and we were going after a specific audience, and then it came back and said, actually, video gamers, which kind of makes sense, we weren't going after them initially. Share traders, big audience for this group because it was a more expensive beer. And so you get sort of 95% in the analytics of what you're expecting, but there's that sort of wild card that comes through every time.
Yep.
And we all sort of sat back and went, okay, that makes sense, so let's go after some more of them.
And did you find once you did do that and you concentrated more of that budget on it, that conversions increased?
It works, yeah. So we optimise the whole way through based on what's being served up in the analytics.
Pretty cool. So going back to Pink Media Group.
Yep.
That's still running?
Still alive.
We built your website.
You did build my website, thank you. It was like 12 years ago.
Yeah, we were talking about that just before.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was, I can't remember what kind of program that was in. It might have been WordPress or something back then.
So there was the Pink site, which was a bit of WordPress, but then we got into an online store for a bit there. We did a bit of e-commerce. Which was fun.
And did you see, let's say right back then, because obviously the diversity's majorly improved over time.
Yep.
Back then it was a bit of a niche. And did you see that was a niche that you wanted to play in? That was something that people wanted to be targeting?
Kind of. I mean, I had a previous business which was advertising in gyms, which started when I was 23, so a little while ago. And we had 500 gyms, and we went to Kellogg's and said, look, we've got 500 gyms and all these healthy people, do you want to advertise? And they would say yes.
Yeah.
But if one gym went to Kellogg's, because they were too small, the audience was too small.
Right, okay.
So I did that for a number of years and sold that, and then went to the UK and worked for JC Deco and came back, and I looked at the LGBT media space, and none of the big brands were there, and I'm sort of thinking, why are they not here? And then it was kind of the same model as the gyms. Like, if one media owner is too small. Maybe I can put them all together and create a bigger network. Which I did, and then that was a great business, and it still is a good business. But I fought the seasonality for a number of years, but now I'm okay with it. But 100% digital is very much the focus. So we've opened up the targeting to anybody, whether it's people who are into solar panels, into beer.
Ski resorts. Still have that expertise, right, on targeting those diverse communities. That I feel like that's quite lacking, obviously, with a lot of media groups.
Yeah.
Is that something? How do you tailor a campaign to kind of diverse groups like that without losing the brand in the process?
So we do quite a bit of CALD targeting.
Just as an example, probably the biggest one in America was the beer company that
Bud.
Bud put someone in front of it, and all these
the
very
people
went mental on it.
They did.
But that's probably the biggest case that I've ever seen. But do you find that brands are a little bit, without sounding reluctant, because they don't want to pigeonhole themselves, or?
I think the reality is that most brands these days want to do something around Mardi Gras, so we fire that up. But what we do a lot more consistently is the culturally and linguistically diverse targeting. So targeting Chinese audiences or Spanish audiences or particular groups like that. So we can basically do that based on the language targeting on your devices. So if your devices are set to Spanish, we can serve ads in Spanish. If you're in certain areas, or if you're looking at websites in a certain country from Australia, we can serve ads there in that language.
Right.
So it kind of fits under that group now.
It's interesting because, like, even as a case study, I was looking at flights to Japan. I started doing that a couple of years ago.
Everyone is all the rage.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden TikTok, it's like, you think you're going to Japan, here's the best places, blah, blah, and then all these deals start coming up. Have you considered business class?
Isn't that great? That's programmatic for you. That's audience targeting. I love that.
Yeah, but what I find too is, like, if my wife is on my phone, just browsing, she knows kind of what I've been looking at because of the ads and what I'm getting served at as well.
Yes,
so I've got to be careful sometimes. But
I'm pretty sure my devices know that I'm trying to renovate my loft at the moment and that I'm into shoes.
I know that too.
I've
seen it on Instagram.
Shoe ads.
Yeah. So Pink Media, have you seen, because the diversity is now, it's not such a big thing anymore, like in terms of it's embraced. Like, it's a part of every single business, every culture now. It's just a norm rather than...
There's still quite a few brands that are interested in the audience that are doing activity and running campaigns. Yeah. But it just tends to be seasonal. There's very few who are always on. Yeah. And I've got this big team with all these capabilities, and we're like, we want to keep running great campaigns, and we want activity in the off season, and 100% digital has absolutely served that up. So
Nice. So where do you see 100% digital going at this stage? You're very focused in, like, the programmatic advertising.
Not going, just growing.
Yeah, are you going full, like, massive media
He's all in.
agency? Like,
when I say programmatic, we also do search. Google Ads, which I think is important for a digital agency. We do SEO, which is important as well. We work with partners to make great websites, like you guys. So it's sort of full service digital, and I see it growing, in terms of people, in terms of clients. We're Sydney-based, but half the clients are in Melbourne, so we might need a Melbourne office.
Nice.
Wink, wink.
The space is lovely, wonderful. More regular podcasts. So no, it's already been a ride for 2 years, but I think we're going to have a lot more fun.
We're talking about... Sorry.
I'm just thinking, guess it depends on where the industry goes as well, obviously, because in 5 years, God knows what advertising capabilities will even be in place in things we don't even know exist yet. So I guess...
I think we can confidently assume that digital is going to play a very big part of that.
Yeah.
I think
it's just where it goes. Yeah.
I think just looking outside and seeing how people are getting to work or walking to work. You're going to work, you're on Google Maps, you're in Waze, or you're on your phone, or if you're on the tram, you're consuming. And I think, that's a digital life now.
Yes.
And it's hard to get around it. And you look at Apple, and they've got the goggles now, and it doesn't seem like they've really been embraced by a lot of people, maybe because of the expense, and that'll come down soon.
Yeah.
But, your watches, your health, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's all serving up data which we can buy.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. But I think the wild card possibly is the buzzword AI.
Yeah.
So at the moment, running digital is very complex, and it's a lot of these platforms that we utilise are not that user friendly. So you need experts that have been doing it for years and are just really deep in the tech, which is kind of good because it's a barrier to entry, which helps our business, but it's kind of difficult for a number of clients to do, and a number of agencies don't even do it, so they work with people like us.
Which is why we hadn't, and why we want to embrace that kind of business model that you're going after, which is really tapping into those agencies, not your one-to-one. You go to an agency which has 300 or 500 clients and cherry pick the ones that work for you, that have got decent budgets and understand the value that you're providing.
Yes.
Same for us. Like, we want to go to places like you that do what you do, and then if they do ask for other things that you don't do, rather than having to advertise to that direct person and you have one job, you get multiple jobs, and that's where I can see the growth happening
for
on
sure.
both sides. So,
So that's an exciting time.
Yeah, so much happening.
Yes.
What else I have on my list?
She's been analysing you, Ben.
Right.
She's doing so
nice.
much.
Good work.
How do you measure your campaigns, especially in kind of that specific advertising, like as in retargeting through programmatic? How do you say it? Programmatic.
It's a mouthful.
Like, what's the major KPI in that, aside from like the regular, like sales, whatever? Like, what are you aiming for?
Like brand identity or things like that?
Yeah, like.
Well, how do you measure it?
Yeah, I guess is my question.
Good question. Every campaign's different. So we talk a lot about programmatic or digital being full funnel. So if you've got a client after just brand awareness, we can do that. If they want consideration or conversion sales and leads, we can do that. So every campaign is a different brief. But what we try to emphasise is that if you might just be after sales or leads, and we'll zero in on that, we'll focus on that. But there's a whole bunch of other analytics that come out of it as well. So you've got website traffic. So we've got a campaign at the moment that's delivered 14,000 people to their website in the last month, and that's incredible. And then we tag up the entire site. So there's a whole bunch of different buttons going on there that are basically buying indicators. So if some of that traffic click on various things, it shows they're interested in the product. They download a brochure. If they use the calculator, if they do various things. So we report on all of that. And then you look at time on site, bounce rate. If you've got a low bounce rate, it shows the traffic is really strong and it's relevant and they're interested in what you're doing. How many pages they look at when they get there. So there's a whole stack of different
analytics
that come back, and we encourage our clients to look at all of them. So they might just say, we just want leads, we just want sales, and we get that, and that's what we're doing. But let's have a look at everything else as well, because it all
you might
tells
have
a story.
opportunities there. Yeah, if they just want to have brand recognition or they want to build up their awareness.
Yeah.
And then you're like, actually, there's a lot of people that are interested in this.
Yeah.
Have you? And they're like, yeah, we do this already, but we just didn't think it was a big part of the business.
Yeah.
We have that for an electrical company at the moment that do solar panels and all the installs and everything. And they do all the purchasing of them. They've got the new Tesla Powerwall 3.
Right.
But there's this just an electrical side of it, people just wanting help on their electrics that they hadn't seen. And as part of the analytics, you can see that there's a huge interest in this other part. And he's like, I'll just put a couple of guys on that if we get the jobs. And then that's become its own thing too.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. Just, understand what you're aiming for. But like you said, look at it all.
We've got a solar panel client, and it's amazing the audiences you can buy. So we can buy people that are over a certain age, own their own home. We can tell that they own their own home. You can buy people who have just moved, just moved into a new house. And so then we know that they're interested in spending money on the place. All this audience data is available, which is quite amazing.
How do they know if someone's recently moved?
That is a very good question.
Is it just like because you're searching for like buy couch or whatever? Like, is it,
Yeah, looking up rental properties or flatmate finder. Or,
but it's just so specific.
Well, it's amazing
it's
how specific you can be. Yeah. And we can dive into it and get all that.
Is there something that a client's come to you and said, I want to target this, that you haven't been able to do? Like, is there a ceiling to it?
There is. So we've got a big national dental group, and it's quite difficult to target people online through third-party or first-party audiences with a health-related situation. So Google basically won't allow you to do it.
We have issues with aged care, the same kind of thing. Yeah.
So you can go for age groups and other indicators, and then we have to basically change DSPs to get other people who will allow us to. There's a few complexities there.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess it'll also be like, do you also find that issue, just like switching back to pink, with targeting kind of diverse communities? Is there also problems with kind of retargeting in that space and specifying the audiences? I feel like, especially Google, doesn't like you to mention things like
so in other words, if you
and-
identify someone as something and they're not, are they getting offended?
I feel like they've introduced maybe new rules to deal with it.
Yeah, so you used to be able to do that on Meta, Facebook, but you can't anymore.
Not so much. Yeah, exactly.
But what you can do is people who are following RuPaul's Drag Race and
like
Sydney Mardi Gras and all these different
true.
audiences.
I guess target it that way.
We've
Do you
also
have Sydney Mardi Gras as a client?
I did, yeah. I looked after their sponsorship for 6 years.
That would have been amazing.
It was fun. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of big brands.
Some big parties, I'm sure.
There was a few parties. Yes. But they were making amazing floats, so we did like.
And that's grown rapidly. Like I remember seeing that. It was televised all around Australia.
Yeah.
Kylie Minogue was there, most of the time or whatever.
She loves it.
Yeah. Have you seen that grow and grow? And now it's become quite just or because of the diversity becoming so normal now, is it as big as it used to be?
When I first started, they were very low on corporate sponsors, and we brought in Airbnb and Fitness First and a whole bunch of big brands, and it sort of went from not that many to almost the reverse, too many, and now there's a bit of a saying that there's a bit of a feeling that there's too many corporates.
It's getting a bit,
It's dialed down a bit, but it's a free event, and they need to fund themselves, and festivals aren't doing that well at the moment, so all the corporate support, the better.
Well, a quick little love story. One of the guys that works with us, he met his partner at the Sydney Mardi Gras.
Good.
And they're together and they commute. He's in Sydney.
Right.
Our guy's here. They make it work. So
Great.
It's good to see those kind of stories come out. Yeah. And how do you see stories making such a big impact in the creative that you use? Do you find that if a story is told, it's much better than just promoting a product or a service?
So we
Or because
we love video because you can tell the story in video.
Yeah.
So static JPEGs are kind of wallpaper to an extent. So we generally run multiple creatives initially and test them and A/B test and basically come back with the analytics within a couple of weeks saying this, the one with the green background is getting double the clicks, so let's go with that, and that headline is doing a lot better. And we constantly work with the creative agencies on optimizing what's best performing, and we can test it all very quickly. But in terms of telling stories, video is great.
Yeah,
video is less clickable. So it's more of an awareness piece.
Yeah, because people think that if you click it, it pauses it or whatever. So there's that misconception there.
Yeah.
And because the amount of content that people consume and the quickness of flicking.
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell a story so quickly and something that gets to the heart. So it's
But those YouTube bumpers, you can't skip them. They're good.
No, they are. 5 seconds, and you can see the person.
Can't skip it. You got to watch it.
No, it's good. Yeah. And I guess with YouTube, that's obviously it's a messaging thing. It's not a conversion thing. You just want people to know something.
Yeah, I'd consider it more awareness. Yeah. You do get some clicks out of it as well, but I'd consider it more awareness. Yeah. And what we love doing is a complete, the more touch points, the better. So you might have some digital out of home and some video on YouTube, and then the awareness side of things. Then we go in on the spooky targeting, so the first and third party and all that side of stuff.
You definitely see brands like you mentioned Airbnb before. They do that where they aggressively go out and market at every touch point that their consumers are at.
Yeah.
It could be a freeway billboard because they know these types of people going in at that particular time during the day. And then I see it on my phone, I see it in the paper.
Right.
It's pretty crazy. And so some of them say, I want at least 3 or 4 touch points per target device or whatever it is.
Well, I think it's better. So, and then that gives you more. So it fills up the funnel at the top and gives you more conversions down the end.
I remember when I used to work at the movies, I was an usher guy, and they used to have the posters for the upcoming movies. Right?
Yep.
And what they realised really quickly is if you had different movies of the posters in the different movies every single time, you'd forget it. But if you had a row of posters and they all had the same movie, you'd remember it 3 times as much, and you'd be like, I need to see that because obviously they're spending a lot of time on it. So it's that repetitive recognition or repetition that seems to work as well on digital that way too.
I've always been the guy, having worked in advertising for 25 years, like to get to the movies early and watch the ads.
Yeah, same.
I don't want to miss the ads.
Yeah.
I want to see
it's
who's there.
30 minutes now of ads and trailers.
They're good.
Yeah.
I see the ads.
I know you got to go pretty quickly, so we'll just do our quick questions.
Speed round.
Yeah.
Speed round.
Exciting.
Okay. I've done a bit more caffeine for this.
Okay. Speed round. Creative or code?
Oh, a bit of both. Can I say that?
I think you can say that.
Yeah.
What's your favourite design tool?
Design tool. We don't really do a lot of design, so we work with design agencies.
You're in code mode.
Yeah, nice. Favourite website?
Favorite website? I don't mind a bit of Airbnb, now that you mention it. Booking.com, I reckon.
How many hours per week do you work?
Pretty much most waking hours, believe it or not, listeners. So yeah, from the minute it never stops. When you have your own business, it never stops.
It's like firing up the laptop as soon as your eyes are open.
Yeah, never stops.
Do you sleep well at night? Like, close it off?
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's the first app you open every day?
It's probably Instagram. Oh, I'm really City Morning, SMH.
Yeah.
SMH, Instagram.
I think every single guest we've had so far, the answer's been Instagram.
I'm trying to get off the Instagram.
Yeah.
It's so addictive. It's scary because you got your friends in there and you've got all these reels. You can get trapped in reels.
We've got a bunch of clients advertising there and a bunch of brands to look after, and it's all happening
Lots
there.
to see, yeah.
I did notice recently I set up an event for a Christmas party, and I was inviting people on Facebook. As people, I don't know if people still do that, but I was like, having an
That's our
event.
age.
Yeah, but I've got a lot of people who are on Insta and not on Facebook, and I'm like,
how do I do this?
how do I do this? Because they're not on both anymore, so everyone's on all the
one or the other.
Yeah, I think they might be a bit younger as well because I found Snapchat was a thing for a while. Are you on Snapchat?
No, I was on it when I was in high school. I feel like it's just like 15-year-olds.
So how are you organising events? How does it work?
don't know.
You don't. I thought you said you don't.
I mean, on Snapchat, I have no idea.
You might just do Eventbrite or something and have like a free little event that you set
I
up.
feel like most of the time people now just message people.
Yeah, group chats.
Yeah, group chat.
Who's got time for that?
Well, no, exactly. It's like old school. We've reverted back. Where were we up to? Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Of course. Dark mode or light mode?
Dark mode.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Work from home or work from office?
Bit of both.
Cats or dogs?
You're good at this.
Neither.
What?
Nothing hairy. Hey?
What do you choose instead? Bird?
Look, I'm happy for other people to have them. But,
Not me.
No pets. I see. Favorite font?
Definitely not Times New Roman. We use a bit of Arial, maybe.
Oh, pretty standard
Classic.
stuff.
Yeah.
Design or spec?
I think, I don't know, for you, like, because you're into the analytics and stuff, you're probably more into the specifications of things.
I guess.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What's your favorite snack while working?
Snack. I don't mind a bag of chips, but I'm trying to give them up.
They're
What's the
expensive these
best
days.
flavour of chips?
Chili kettles.
I'm a salt vinegar
that's
there.
an
Right, cheese
expensive
Doritos
bag
pretty
of
good
chips.
too,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to give them up.
Yeah.
Nice. Pineapple on pizza?
Yeah.
Nice. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Can't wait for summer.
We're getting close.
City or country?
City.
As Sydney or Melbourne is also the
Well,
the
that's a
other
tricky
question
one.
to
I love
look
them
at.
both. Yeah.
Melbourne boy in Sydney, but
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the time. So yeah, both.
Nice.
Yeah.
Final question. Would you rather time travel into the past or into the future?
Oh, I reckon the future's. We know what happened in the past. I want to see what's going on in the future.
It's true. You could come back with some knowledge.
Yeah.
Digital.
our last
Yeah.
episode, we
Yeah.
interviewed ChatGPT.
Ah.
So we got
Wow.
them talking through the phone,
Okay.
and it said the future as well.
Yeah.
What was the answer? It was really insightful.
Yeah, it was something like
Have to go back and
you
listen
know.
to that one. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it. End of speed round. Thank you for your answers.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks for
for
coming on. I
having
know
me.
you're busy,
See
you've
you.
got things to do, so
All
I
good.
really appreciate you coming on. If you want to find out from Ben, 100.digital is
Yes.
the website address.
It is.
And he can help you out with your, what was it called? Something on demand? BYOD? No.
BVOD.
BVOD.
Yeah.
BVOD, not
We do a
BYOD.
bit of that. yeah.
Everything else.
Yes, yeah. For those clients, we'll definitely hook you up with some clients, and I can see
Sweet.
some potential with that stuff. So yeah,
Can't
thanks.
wait.
mate. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the Creative and Code podcast.
That's all, folks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it as inspiring and entertaining as we did. Remember, there are plenty more episodes to explore, so make sure you keep listening for more creative insights and coding tips. A big shout out to our amazing sponsors and the team at ID Digital Agency for making this podcast possible. Got a story to share or want to be a guest on our show? We'd love to hear from you. Send us a 2-minute or less audio clip to creativeandcode@iddigital.com.au. Suggestions, ideas, or just want to say hi, we're all ears. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, stay creative and keep coding.